Hello, Leigh-Anne. Today's movie we have Totally Killer, a rad adventure in the 80s. So, as usual, spoiler alert, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. Don't watch if you want to watch it without spoilers. So I'm going to be talking about some of the scenes, etc. So, I'm going to try to make this one a lot quicker than the last few. So I'm going to speed through it a little bit. I watched this one yesterday, so my memory might be a little bit smudged and fuzzy, but we'll see what we can do here. So anyway, the movie starts off, they do kind of like a breakdown of the history of this killer of the film. So he's called the Sweet 16 Killer, and he killed three 16-year-old girls by stabbing them 16 times, relatively close to their 16th birthday, like shortly after. One was right on her birthday, and the others were, I think, around it. Can't really remember. Yeah, so there's this podcaster guy who does like a podcast about this, because the town has become known for this now. It's almost like a tourist experience. There's like a tour that you can take and see the houses and stuff and whatever, and this podcaster does those tours and whatnot. Anyway, we cut to this girl Jamie, played by what's her name from Creepy Adventures of Sabrina, or whatever it's called. Kiernan Shipka, I think is her name. And she is wanting to go to a concert with her friends or something on Halloween night, and the mom turns out was an almost victim of this killer, like way back in 87. So like 3 of her friends were killed and the killer came after her, but she escaped somehow. And she's really paranoid because every year there's not killings or anything, but there's just a whole bunch of hubla about it. And I guess she's just trying to protect her daughter, and the daughter's like, "Mom, come on, like, I've taken self-defense classes, I have pepper spray, you gave me like a rape whistle, I have this like crystal randomly that you gave me that's supposedly blessed and will protect me, like I have pretty much everything covered, plus I'll be with my friends." And the mom's like, "Okay, fine, but your dad's taking you, and he's waiting for the whole concert, and then he's coming back." And so they agree on that. So they take off, and then the mom is handing out candy and whatnot, and the door rings, and so the mask of the killer has become, much like the whole story, part of the tourism aspect of this town. So people will regularly wear the mask that the killer wore in the 80s as part of their Halloween costumes, which obviously initially freaks out the mom, being one of the people that he initially stalked. So she's like, "Oh god, I hate this mask," whatever, and she like goes to give him candy and whatnot. But yeah, it's the killer. He's back with a vengeance or whatever. Anyway, he comes into the house, and surprisingly, for the first bit, gets his ass kicked. This mom is like, has been prepared. She's like, throws some martial arts moves down, throws this guy around. She's got pepper spray strategically placed, like taped under a table or something. Pepper sprays the guy. Takes a lot for this guy to overpower, so really props to the mom. Anyway, unfortunately, he does get the upper hand and ends up stabbing her. And I think it was 16 times, go figure, right? Just to keep with the program there. So mom, unfortunately, she fought a good fight, but just was overpowered and then succumbed to her injuries, etc. Obviously, Jamie and father there come home, and that's not the greatest thing to come home to. So it's police investigation. Her dad is like a suspect or something at one point, and it's just a little bit like they interview Jamie, or they interrogate Jamie very briefly in the school hall or something, because they're doing an investigation there. And she basically says something along the lines of like, if you do your fucking job, maybe you would have got the guy in the first place way back in the 80s and whatnot. So she's pretty fuming. Anyway, she's trying to move on, I guess. There's this big science fair going on or whatnot, and her friend. So okay, with this movie, you got to suspend your belief a little bit, or your disbelief, or whatever you want to call it. You got to sort of just go with the flow. There's some stupid crap, but it's entertaining. So her friend has invented a time machine for the science fair. Yeah, a time machine. Hasn't gotten it to work yet, I don't think, or something along those lines, but she's like on the verge of it. and they're looking it out, and it's in this old, I think, a pinball game or like one of those virtual racing games or something at this abandoned fair, which they're doing the science fair at. An abandoned fairground, sorry. So like old rides and stuff, but that's where they're doing the science fair, so why not? Okay. Anyway, time machine. Good job. High school student inventing a time machine. I mean, it could happen, right? You never know. I've seen dumber shit. But yeah, like, whatever. Just take it with a grain of salt. Working time machine. Cool. They end up getting it to work. Can't remember exactly what happened, which is really brilliant. But right, the killer, I think, comes at her or something in the fairground or whatever to start the 16 thing over again, to reignite this new generation of the Sweet 16 killer. So targets Jamie and starts chasing her, and she falls into the time machine, and the killer stabs down but hits the controls of the machine, which for some reason is the thing that it needed to activate. They explain it later as like just like it needs a metal conductor or something, but the knife acted like that and it landed in the perfect spot. Boom! Back in time to 1987, and yeah, there she is. And she heads to the... Yeah, she's in the middle of nowhere, and like some woman comes up and like, do you need a ride or something? She's like, you're a stranger. No. Stranger danger. Which the lady's like, what the fuck? There's some really good 80s isms in here, like she ends up accepting the ride eventually, but when she gets out, she opens out the door, and the woman's been smoking cigarettes in the car, and the whole car is filled with smoke. Which, if you weren't around in the 80s, smoking was just a thing that was not taboo or frowned upon or anything. Like, there were restaurants where they'd have a smoking section and a non-smoking section, but they were connected. So basically, just 1.5 people smoked and 1 didn't. So basically, everyone was in the smoking section. Used to be able to smoke on airplanes. Like, it was insane. Anyway, so that was very, very accurate. People absolutely smoked in their car with kids in it. They didn't give a shit. Anyway, drops her off at school. That's neither here nor there. Drops her off at school, and she goes and she's looking for her mom, realizing, well, I can stop this. I'm here, and the date that was on the machine is set to before the murders happen. I can prevent this. So right away she goes and she tries to find her mom, because her mom was, killed in the future. So if they can stop the murders now, not only could she possibly save, her mom's friends in the 80s, she could save her mom from becoming a victim in 2023. So she goes to the directory and finds where her mom is or whatever. And anyway, they end up in gym class, and it's dodgeball, and it's kind of brilliant because they show like just the difference in the way things were in the 80s versus now. Like, without sounding like too weird, there's no other way to say it. Like, kids now are a little bit softer than they were in the 80s. So they're playing dodgeball, and right away, of course, she's like, this is like barbaric and shit. And she gets beamed right in the head, knocked to the ground, and she's like shaking her head, like, what's going on? Turns out it was her mom who hit her in the head. And to which the mom is like, you're out, bitch. So her mom is like a mean girl in the 80s, which is hilarious and was unexpected. I thought that was really good. I enjoyed the mom's teenage character a lot. She was just kind of like a Regina George or Cordelia Chase or one of those type of girls. But had some substance in her later on. Anyway, whatever. They end up... Jamie keeps trying to, like, be buddies and stuff, and eventually they accept her into their group or whatever, and they go to this... whatchamacallit? There's, like, a house party or something. And, I'm going to miss a lot of characters or whatever, but as I remember them, I'll mention them. But anyway, there's this jock guy who, like, throws them out multiple times, and she's there with, like, a nerdy guy. Was it the hall monitor? Ugh, I can't remember. Anyway, whatever, that's inconsequential. So one of the friends, Tiffany, finds this this guy who in the future becomes like a famous rock star, but in the past he's just like some leather jacket clad badass type guy, and they go to make out in the room, but she doesn't like giving blowies, and so the guy is not thrilled with that. So as she goes to get ready, he just walks out of the room. At this point, I guess the killer had entered the room. So he's in the closet and the door's open a crack. And she comes back out. And she's like calling him out. She's like, wait a minute, I don't chase guys. Guys chase me. You come out if you want something. You want to... So the guy comes out and he's wearing that mask, the killer mask. It's like a... I don't know what it's supposed to be. It looks like a talk show host or something with a big grin and blonde, slicked hair. I don't know. Anyway, I think they made it specifically for the movie, so I don't think it's based on anything. But he comes out, and she quickly finds out, after the first plunge of the knife into her, that this is not the rock star guy. So anyway, 16 stab wounds, first victim. There was, I believe... Jamie was trying to convince her not to do something with him or something, and it ended up, long story short, it ended up making the body, which was originally found in the garage or something like that, it was found in the bedroom now. Like in the future, it changed that, and so she's realizing, oh shit, I can actually like affect what's going on, not just in a positive way of stopping murders, but I gotta like take into account that everything can change now. So anyway, good times. This is when finally her mom from the past, this Pam girl, like starts realizing that like this is kind of a big deal, and they end up becoming like buddy a little bit. Anyway, they fast forward, skip to the next scene where they go to it's going to be like a Sweet 16 party for one of them, and they want to go to like into the woods and have like a bonfire thing or whatever. And of course, Kieran, or what the hell's her name? Jamie is, I'm just gonna call her Sabrina. So Sabrina is like, why don't we go like to like the big city or something? We'll rent a condo in the city and we'll party there, and you know, whatever we got to do. And they're like, oh, that's a good idea actually. So it's assumed that they're going to be going to a condo somewhere in the big city. Anyway, they're driving and they pull up to this cabin in the woods, and Sabrina's like, what the fuck? I thought we were going to like a condo. And they're like, yeah, this is my mom's condo or whatever. And like, maybe I got condo and timeshare mixed up. Anyway, so they're at the cabin where the next murder took place in the main timeline. And lo and behold, it takes place in this timeline as well, because they're all... Oh, actually, there's a scene... there's a scene where this one girl made like pot brownies or whatever, and she's all like bragging and completely stoned out of her head. Everyone is like ripped, and Sabrina's like, wow, I ate like 5 of them and I'm not feeling anything. What did you use? She gives her the bag and holds it up, and she's like, this is like dust and stems. What the hell? 80s weed sucks. Which I thought was kind of funny, because I mean, now it's legal in so many places, and so whatever state she was in, it was probably legal there too. So it's just kind of funny, the difference there. Anyway, it doesn't partake any really valuable difference to the story. Yeah, anyway, she lures them into the house by saying pizza, because they're all stoned and have the munchies. Like, there's pizza in the house, so go in the house. And then they do, and they lock her out for some reason. I can't remember exactly why. Probably think maybe it was because there was no pizza or something. I don't know. Anyway, the killer's in the house, and he ends up attacking the girl that was killed third instead of the girl that was killed second. Again, mixing things up. So stabs her 16 times, but is chased off by everyone because he's outnumbered, whatnot. Sabrina's back in the house, whatever, and okay, another one down. Great. Yeah, so... Oh yeah, and then all along they're showing like clips of the modern timeline too. So her friend who made the time machine is trying to make another one to get it to work so she can like go back or whatever. And Sabrina, in the past, I forgot to mention, also had found the girl who invented the time machine's mother, who apparently left notes for like the time machine that she didn't finish. So tries to find her to create a new one, and they go to the fairground, the same one that the science fair is in 2023, which is just an active like amusement park in 87. And they come to the conclusion that the what is it? I don't know. It's the gravitron, if you know what that is, but I think it's like the gravity well or quantum drop or something like that in this movie. Anyway, I'm going to call it the gravitron. So they say that that's going to be the an alternate source of power for this time machine. They can use that to get them back to where they gotta go, which is all fine and dandy. But the next murder takes place in like a fun house or something. So they're preparing. They're like, okay, you're gonna go into the fun house. That's where it goes. But we're all gonna be there and we're gonna stop it. And they're like, okay. So she's like, I think they say something along the lines of like, just pretend you're going in there as usual to like do a quick blowy or something. And then, of course, all the male friends there look at her and they're like, yeah, she's done that to me. It's just kind of silly. Anyway, so she goes there and she's saying to herself, just a quick blowy. And goes to the haunted house. Another friend is there and has like a scythe or whatever. She's like the Grim Reaper or whatever. And yeah, killer strikes again and ends up trying to kill people. Doesn't succeed because the girl with the Grim Reaper costume ends up putting the scythe right through his chest. And they're like, that's a real scythe? What the hell? And yeah, my dad gave it to me for protection or whatever. It's like, okay, sure, why not? Anyway, they unmask the killer, and it turns out to be well, in the past, he was like the hall monitor or something like that, and in the future, he was he involved with the cops or politics or something like that? I can't remember. But anyway, so now this guy died in the past, so he's obviously not alive in the future anymore, which is like, okay, that's messing everything up. But then, out of nowhere, a second killer comes out and cuts the girl's throat that the first killer was trying to kill. And so they're like, what? Anyway, madness ensues. Sabrina rushes to the Gravitron. She's got to, like, with her mom to get them. I don't know. It's a little bit convoluted, and I was only, like, partially paying attention because I was watching with a friend. But anyway, from what I got out of it, she ends up going to the Gravitron thing and to get out of there, and I don't know, take the killer maybe. I'm not sure. But anyway, the mom gets on there, and so does the killer, and the killer is revealed to be the podcast guy from the original, like the beginning of the movie, who apparently was, in order to keep tourism going, had made this plan to bring back the killer or whatever. And when when her friend had made a new time machine, he used it to go back in time, and there was a scene of her like unconscious on the ground in the future again. So it's time travel stuff, man. It's a ride. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, so they're in the Gravitron and they're fighting or whatever, and Sabrina ends up shooting him with a nail gun, and he goes flying into the wall and gets like evaporated into like pink mist and shit. And the mom was kicked out so she could like stay in the past and all that stuff. Anyway, long story short, killer's defeated. All three of the people who died still died, so you didn't really do anything, but you technically saved your mom, because your mom was killed by the second killer, right? And he died in the past now. Which is even weirder, because there's this point in the movie where the killer from the future ends up killing his teen version of his own dad, so paradox, right? He kills the newscaster too as he's chasing Sabrina. He just like stabs him in the head on live TV. Like, why not? Anyway, she goes back to the future. There you go. There's a reference to that in the movie too, actually. That's how she tries to explain it the first time. Anyway, she goes back to the future, and this guy comes in, and she's kind of like checking him out, like, oh, who's this guy? Walks in the house, and it turns out it's her brother, because her mom and dad had hooked up earlier because of Sabrina's influence on them, or telling them that they got together to make her or something. Again, super convoluted. Turns out, though, however, the brother's name is Jamie, and now Jamie, aka Sabrina's new name, is Colette, and it's like, what? And then, yeah, so then the friend comes, or the mother of the friend, the time machine mom-daughter duo come and give a book of, like, updated things of what's changed because of the meddling of the past, and there's, like, a whole list of stuff, and one of them is that she has a brother named Jamie who's, like, several years older than her because her parents hooked up way before, and her name's now Colette, which is kind of hilarious. And there's some other stuff, I don't remember exactly what's in the book, but that's essentially it. So She didn't really change anything except for saving her mom, but everyone else still died, and now she's named Colette. So, I mean, whatever. And that's the movie. So, it was enjoyable. The thing about this movie is it was just a goofy, silly movie that does not take itself seriously at all. Like, it knows it's ridiculous and it runs with it, like a girl making a time machine for a science fair. Like, it sounds stupid, but legitimately it's actually pretty enjoyable, as dumb as it sounds. So, like, everything except for like the story itself essentially is done pretty well. Acting's pretty good. There's some good slashing scenes and whatnot, and the 80s vibe is always a fun vibe to have. That's nostalgia's huge right now, so they lean heavily into that. And they did kind of nail the vibe, like I said, with the smoking there, just like those windbreakers that people wear. There's a woman in one of those like purple and teal and white windbreakers or whatever, and at the party they're playing like New Order and stuff. Like, it was pretty good. So what am I gonna rate it though? This is the thing. Now, was it phenomenal? No, but it was stupid and fun. So these kind of movies are tough because not everyone's gonna like them, and not all of you will like it, I'm pretty sure, but some of you will also appreciate it. So, you know, I'm just gonna 6.9. Let's do that, because it's fun, but it's like not every person will enjoy it in the same way. So 6.9, that's my rating. Should you watch it? I say yes, but when you do, don't take it seriously. Know that it's ridiculous and that it knows that it's ridiculous, and you'll have a good time. I'm already over 20 minutes, so I guess I'll stop it here. That was probably my first and last time of doing a review or synopsis the day after I watch it, because I'm sure I missed a lot of stuff. But the general point is there, and the gist of the story is there. So, yeah, there you go. Totally Killer with Sabrina. It's a ride.